Hello, anybody here? Hello, hello. Hey, we got somebody. What's up? Oh, we had somebody and they're gone. Hey, we're getting some people. Where you at, guys? Hit me up in the chat. Let me know who's here. Can you guys hear me okay? Who we got in here? Hey, what's up, Daniel? How's it going, man? All right, we got 3. We had 3. We're back down to 2. Yes, spooky black screen for Halloween. Exactly. What's up, David? Happy Halloween, guys. It's good to be here. Right? Super spooky. Oh man. What's going on? Did you guys have a good you guys do anything for Halloween? I know some people obviously it's not really that big a holiday for most, but no trick or treaters tonight. Wow. Yeah, where I'm at, the weather was really bad, so it was pretty sparse as well. Only the most hardcore were out there trying to get some candy. So I usually watch a ton of movies, but I just literally did not have the time today. I had so much work to do. But I did manage to watch a little bit in the background while I was working earlier. So, yeah, raining. It just sucks, man. It sucks when Halloween's just drab, you know? Never fun. Um I started this thing a couple minutes early, so I'm guessing we're gonna have more people strolling in here in just a minute. But yep, looks like we got a third person here. Yeah, what a week. What a crazy card we got coming up this weekend. Any word yet on Darren Till? I haven't been able to pay attention. Is he going to make it to the card? Because that would kind of be a big blow to the main card, in my opinion, if they if that fight fell out because he couldn't get something about a green card or something. Hopefully, more show up. They're not all at the same party without inviting us. Yeah, no kidding, right? He has arrived in New York. Okay, cool. Very cool. We got a fourth member of the team here. Guys, if you're in the chat, go ahead and send a hello. He did arrive. Cool. Awesome. Well, that's good. So that fight's on. I mean, that's kind of weird. I guess that'll be to his detriment, probably. I thought that fight was already a really bad fight, to be honest with you, for Darren Till. Hey, Johnny Johnson, what's up, man? Happy Halloween. We're just talking about Darren Till's disastrous week. I mean, like I said, I really didn't like that. Yeah, no problem. I want to see more Colby in your videos. Well, hey, coming up with that next pay-per-view, I'm sure there'll be plenty more Colby. He was almost the main character of my Halloween special, but I ended up going with Yoel. But that was more because of time constraints than anything, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like Till will probably lose to Kelvin Gastelum, and it's just not going to help that that he had this weird situation with his travel. But Colby don't know jack cheese. That it'll be a compelling fight. ESPN reports Till Gastelum is on. All right, I mean Till he's a scrapper, man. He'll go for it, but I feel bad. I feel like he's going to get knocked out. Till is about to go the way of James Vick. Yeah, I think you're right, Daniel. That's it's just I don't know. This move at this point in his career against Kelvin Gastelum, it just seems like a really bad choice. Yeah, I'm sure the weight cut did suck, and that's part of it. But yeah, I don't know. He's got to have the least promising 17-2 record I've ever seen, which is weird. He has all the talent. Something's not clicking for whatever reason. I think he could be a big star if he could put it all together, but I think this is just another one of those fights that I feel like is a bad decision. Almost like when Bisping fought Kelvin Gastelum. Remember when he fought Kelvin Gastelum like 10 seconds after GSP beat him? And it was way too early to do it, and Kelvin just KO'd him. Which, I mean, Bisping's a fucking legend. The guy had one damn eye and won a world title. I'm just saying, but that fight with Kelvin Gastelum was a bad choice. Gotta agree, Weidman already showed us what happened when you go up a weight class while you're on a getting KO'd skid. Yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. That was a really tough fight to watch with Weidman against Reyes. And yeah, you're right. It just didn't really fit Luke Rockhold when he moved up to the light heavyweight and got beat. I mean, it's not that moving up is always bad. Obviously, I think what you guys were talking about with Darren Till's weight cuts, certainly he was in the wrong division probably for his own health and safety. But given the situation he's in at the moment, fighting a guy like Kelvin Gastelum right now is just bad. Kelvin Gastelum is just that guy to me that nobody should ever want to fight. He's always the worst opponent, no matter what. I mean, look at that fight with Adesanya. Bisping has to be in the Hall of Fame just for fooling commissions for so long. Yeah, no kidding, right? I totally agree. Bisping is a fucking legend, man. What a career. Hey, we got another member in the chat, I think. Go ahead and say hello if you're in there listening. Unless you want to just listen in silence, which is fine too. But yeah, no, I agree. I thought Bisping's whole run was already legendary, just the way it all played out. But then when you add on top of it that he was basically blind, it's pretty crazy. Oh, yeah, Gastelum, he took it to Adesanya, man. And it's funny because I think the perception at first was, oh, Adesanya is not the real deal, right? Like that was the narrative after that fight. It was, well, yeah, Kelvin Gastelum's good, but he's a bit of a journeyman or whatever, and Izzy doesn't really have it. Well, then he wrecks Robert Whittaker, and now everybody's like, damn, Kelvin Gastelum's a bad motherfucker. And that's probably the more true narrative, I would say. So, hey, Eric, what's up? Out and about on Halloween, somewhat belligerent, so missing the live chat, unfortunately. Much love. Hashtag black screen, hashtag jujitsu, hashtag war Lozon. Oh my God. What a brief cameo. What a great brief cameo, Eric. I appreciate it, man. I'm sorry about having to get dragged around on Halloween, dude. But yeah, thank you for stopping by and saying hello. Oh man, War Lozon. That was when he won the other weekend, I lost it. It's normal. Yeah, it was that was a freaking great moment for me. I'm a massive fan of Lozon, and to see him win like that just made me so happy. Calvin's a boss. The Reaper absolutely destroyed him in a grueling foot race, though. That was a hard L to watch. Yeah. No, definitely. Kelvin is a boss, and yeah, it's like I would never. I could see Kelvin winning a belt at some point when they were coaching tough. Like I could see him winning a belt or not winning a belt, but like no matter what, he's just that guy. Or it's like that quote from Daniel Cormier when he was talking about John Jones back in the day. I'm always that kid in your bracket. Like it's just the guy you don't want to have to fight is Kelvin Gastelum because you know he's going to make you pay for it most of the time. Most of the time he's going to. What do you guys make of gosh, so much has happened in October, right? We had Inhaler Gate. We had Damian Maia choking out Ben Askren. We had Joe Lauzon win, which was, again, that was just personally big for me. I really enjoyed that. Cub Swanson beat Chrome Gracie to defend the round earth. And then, of course, we just talked about Adesanya. Yeah, that was obviously a big deal. That was at the start of the month. Dan Hooker took it to Ally Quinn. That was a great card. I really enjoyed that one. Yeah, that's right, David. So, yeah. So Greg Hardy now is getting thrown into the mix now. Now, I will say, of all the fights that they could put him in against a more legit opponent, this still, I mean, even though it's short notice, which that's pretty wild. He's going to take that. But I will say, like, of all the opponents that he could face, with his particular skill set, he definitely could pull this one out. Like, when you look at what happened with the Derek Lewis fight, right? Like, that fight should not have gone the way it did. Yet, that's what happened. Volkov just stood there and got KO'd. So, I'm not saying it's impossible. Like, Volkov should win the fight. Like, don't get me wrong. But if he's going to stand there and just take power shots, then maybe he'll lose. Or maybe I'm insulting Derek Lewis because obviously he's a lot higher ability than Greg Hardy at this point. Maya Askren was a great fight. Really legit from both. J-Lo's win was the happiest I've been in a while. That's great, man. Yeah, no, I was too. I was super duper jacked. I don't get really too hyped up about these things much anymore, but that in particular really got me going. Always a huge fan of Joe. He's been so cool to me over the years. And yeah, no, Maya Askren was legit. I feel bad for Askren. I feel like I didn't feel bad for him when he got KO'd by Jorge. That was like the best moment in MMA history. But now after this loss, and hearing him talk, and he's talking about retirement and stuff. Yeah, you feel a little bit bad for him. It's not like he put on a horrible performance or anything. Jiu-Jitsu. Bernie Musatelli in the chat. What's up, Bernie? Hopefully Beast taught Volkov a lesson that improves the game plan. Yeah, it was super necessary. Hey, I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling today was a whirlwind. This week's been a whirlwind. I'm surviving. Once I get to Tuesday, I'm going to be able to rest a little bit and I'm going to feel okay, I think. But from now to then, it's pretty much nonstop with just slight moments of sleeping in my office chair. Yeah, I think Volkov will probably have a little bit better game plan this time. I don't think he's going to sit there and let Greg Hardy punch him in the face. I hope Ben sticks around and gets back on track. Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. Like, if he wants to fight still, go ahead. But I can also see, if he wants to hang it up. It's not like he hasn't had a long career or, a good one. Obviously, I don't think things are going to turn out how he thought they were in the UFC, but that doesn't mean that if he doesn't want to stick around, he couldn't, because obviously he's a big fan favorite. People really like him. And if not, no big deal. It's, go do what you're passionate about. He talked about it on the Ariel Helwani interview where he talked about, I love wrestling. I never loved MMA. Well, if he wants to go back to wrestling and coaching and stuff like that, that's very fulfilling. I used to be a coach. I really enjoyed it. So, but yeah, I do feel a bit bad for Askren. May not be a bad decision for him to hang up the UFC gloves, but he did well. He just can't really bang with UFC strikers at his level. Yeah, his striking is he's definitely a specialist. I'll say that. He is absolutely a specialist when it comes to mixed martial arts, which is rare in today's MMA. But, David Wilford, what's up? Okay, he says he's pretty much dropped out of the top of the divisions, but there's still compelling fights for him. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I couldn't read for 5 seconds or why I reintroduced you, David, like you haven't been here the whole time. But no, I agree. I do think there's other compelling fights for him. He could definitely still, be Ben Askren. Obviously, there is an appeal about him. People seem to enjoy him. So, or if he wanted to be an analyst, I think he could really thrive in that market, especially with his connections to Chael. Have Chael get him like an interview at ESPN or something, and he'd be rolling. That would be a good choice for him too. But again, if he wants to fight still, I'm not going to tell him not to. It's because I'm so nondescript and forgettable. Stop. That's not what it is. It's because I'm for like 73 hours. Who's the last of the specialists for high-level fights? Maya, Askren, Habib, who else? That seems pretty much it. Yeah, I'd say so, Bernie. I'm trying to think of any other fighters that I would consider strictly specialists. And yeah, I would say those are it. And Habib has improved somewhat in his other aspects of his game. Obviously, he relies on what he's great at, and why wouldn't you? It's pretty much unstoppable. Is there anybody else? I don't really think so. I think that might be they're the last of the of that type of breed, unless you count like guys that are just so raw that they haven't really developed yet, like Chrome Gracie and stuff like that. But that doesn't, to me, that's just more of a lack of development. Because when you look at guys like Maya, Askren, and Habib, they've had long careers. They've had time to get better at things, Habib has to be the most special. Oh, yeah, for sure. He's definitely the most successful. I mean, what he does is pretty much unstoppable. Maya and Habib striking is surprisingly effective, but that's definitely a more recent development, and people don't think of them as good strikers. No, I totally agree, Johnny. Like, they are effective. I mean, you saw him drop Conor in that fight. Maya has shown recently that he can throw some hands. So, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Oh, also the Rory versus Lima fight happened in that other organization. That's right. So, Lima now. What do we think about Rory and his future? Rory seems to have shifted in his priorities in life. He just doesn't seem like the same guy, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, maybe that's for the better. I don't know. Everything I've seen of him recently. Oh yeah, did he get some Bigfoot fought in the Bare Knuckle FC? Didn't he? That sucks. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that the other day. That sucks. You hate to see that. That's not good. Yeah, I think the Lawler fight did take years out of Rory, Bernie. I totally agree with you. But yeah, I do feel like his head is elsewhere. Like he just doesn't seem, when you look at his recent run, obviously he's fighting good guys, but he has the Robbie fight, which changes his entire life forever, I'm sure. Then he goes on and he has Stephen Thompson loss. He leaves the UFC. He's doing well. Then he gets beat by Gegard, which, I mean, it's Gegard, one of the best in the world. Goes to a draw with John Fitch. And then now he loses to Douglas Lima. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he's like on a downturn or anything. I just feel like maybe he's not into it anymore. He's only 30 years old. I mean, he's technically in his prime. But like you said, Bernie, that fight kind of took a lot out of him. And I mean, he looked like a different person at the end of that fight. Not to mention physically, like he talks about how his nose is just not the same anymore. So, But yeah, that was it's pretty crazy how a single fight. I think we as fans don't really realize like the trauma physically and mentally of something like what happened with him and Robbie. I mean, that was brutal. That footage of him laying on the ground afterwards is just where he's like trying to get up. Have you guys seen that shot? He looks just completely blasted. I mean, it's so weird. I've never seen a person that looked like that. It's not like he got knocked out. He just couldn't go anymore. He could not go. He's been fighting since he was a teenager, though, so a ton of miles for 30 years old. And yeah, the Lawler fight was a lifetime of mileage. That's also a good point. I forgot he did start really young. 2005, which is crazy. That's when the tough boom started. So, like, you got, Forrest Griffin fighting fucking Stephan Bonnar on Spike TV. And then somewhere out in the cold of British Columbia is this young Rory McDonald starting his fight career. That's crazy, man. 2005. I remember thinking Rory McDonald was like the future of mixed martial arts because he was like the first kid to start training in just MMA. Like, he was training to be an MMA fighter. He didn't come from like another background or, whatever. He was strictly training to be the best MMA fighter. And with his personality at the time, I just thought, man, this guy for sure is the future of the sport. But that doesn't always translate. Being a freak from the start doesn't always work out. It worked out for Khabib, but Khabib is a specialist. He wasn't training all aspects of the sport, so it's not really the same thing. But like, he also comes from a completely different culture too. Living in those mountains out in Dagestan is just a totally different experience than living in Canada. No offense to any Canadians. It would be the same as living here in the United States. I just mean that he comes from a much harder place in the world. So his resolve is a lot different, I think. Maybe McDonald discovered girls. That will change your focus. Yeah, you know what? Maybe he found love. And if that's the case, then Rory, you go live your life, man. I mean, look, fighting's not forever for anybody. He has had a long career. Hopefully he's saved up some of that money he's made. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I definitely feel like he's not the guy he was before. He was one of the first that wasn't a specialist. Yeah, exactly. His goal was pure mixed martial arts. Exactly. That's why I thought, man, this guy's the future. Like, this guy is the prototype. But maybe the prototype needs a little bit tweaking. He was in like the alpha phase. Now we're gonna get the beta. We're gonna get some testing on it, and then what other fighters can you think of that are like that? Guys in the chat here, like that just didn't come from another discipline. Like, they literally just came and like, I'm starting MMA. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I can't really come up with anybody. Yeah, he did come. No, I mean, look, Roy's had a good career. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Roy's had a fantastic career, much better than, the vast majority of people who have tried to have MMA careers. Certainly, Roy's beaten some of the best in the world. I'm not knocking him in that regard. I just thought he was going to be like your next George St. Pierre or your next Anderson Silva. But those are obviously few and far between. There's literally two guys. So, well, I mean, obviously there's been more than two, but when you look at the most dominant champions in the history of the sport, it's just a handful of people. And then everybody else is just trying to scrape by. So nothing's coming to mind. They're out there, but Rory is the best example. Yeah, definitely the best example. I'm excited to see in future fighters, what that might bring, because I think that is really interesting that you would specifically train MMA and not come from another discipline or another background. But yeah, there's a few fighters that are up and coming where I'm sure I was like, oh, that's cool. I like how they're training. I can't remember them until they make an impact. I won't remember. So, but yeah. So yeah, Rory lost. Reyes won. Reyes looks tough, man. That seems like the fight. You know what Dominic Reyes reminds me of right now? He reminds me of Chris Weidman right before not how he fights. I don't mean it like that. Let me finish my thought here because that already sounds weird. He reminds me of the situation that Weidman was in right before fighting Anderson Silva. Because if you guys recall, Weidman was on a run. I want to say he was like 12-0. Let me check. Let me look at his stats here. He was 9-0, so not even where Dominic was, but 9-0. He beats Mark Munoz in just the bloodiest fashion possible, and Anderson Silva did not want to fight him. He didn't want to fight him because it was like, look, nobody knows who this guy is, but he's really good. So if I fight him and I beat him, I get nothing for it because nobody knows this guy is that great. And if I lose to him, people are going to say, who the hell is this guy that just beat him? I feel like Dominic Reyes is that fighter right now, where you don't hear John Jones, he dismisses the fight, but you get the sense that John Jones is in a similar situation to Anderson Silva, where he's like, look, if I fight this guy and beat him, nobody's going to care. But he's really tough. So if he comes in here and beats me, then I lose everything. So Reyes is kind of in a bad spot at the moment. And I'm not really sure how that's going to be remedied. Obviously, if you just keep winning, they can't deny you. But at the moment, I feel like he's the least likely to get a title fight. Even though he's probably the most deserving of the bunch that are up and coming right now at light heavyweight. One of those guys the fighters know are really good, but the fans aren't aware of yet. Yeah, exactly, David. That's exactly what the situation is. Like, where Reyes isn't that popular with fans yet, but he is obviously really, really talented. How about Nate Diaz or even Nick? I don't think they ever focused on one specialty or even two. They're definitely well-rounded. I will give them that. I mean, like, I feel like always just slinging all MMA training together from what I hear. Oh, no, for sure. Like, obviously but I guess I mean, like, they never had any kind of background before because, like, they were really heavy in jiu-jitsu as kids. I guess so that's what I mean. Like, a kid who comes in completely fresh, doesn't have any kind of training, and they just sort of jump in there and are like, teach me MMA. Not like, okay, I'm going to go to my jiu-jitsu class and learn jiu-jitsu today. And then I'll learn wrestling and I'll learn MMA or striking, and we'll put it all together. But I got to go to these different disciplines too. I feel like you rarely get to see that in the sport at the moment. But I have a feeling as time goes on, that'll become more common practice. So yeah, Dominic Reyes. I'm looking through these cards again. Ben Askren lost. So tomorrow's card, or Saturday's card, I'm sorry. This card's a lot of fun. I really like this card. Top to bottom on the main card is just a stacked up one. Heck, the prelims. Look at the prelims. Freaking Corey Anderson and Johnny Walker. I mean, sign me up for that. Andrei Arlovsky's still kicking somehow. He's still doing it. Yeah, I like this. I like this card all around. It's going to be a lot of fun. I get what you're saying. They just wasn't any such thing as MMA gyms back then. Yeah, exactly. I guess that's kind of what it is, Johnny. It's like in the past, you had to do it a different way. But like since the rise of MMA as this like mainstream popularity, you're starting to see where they're starting to do that kind of thing. Rory was just a weird exception. It does seem less hyped than earlier Madison Square Garden events, though. That's interesting. You know, I've been hearing people say that there's not a lot of not a lot going into this one. And you guys are probably right. Like I can't gauge it anymore. I'm too close to the fire. To me, every single week looks the exact same. So I rely on everybody else to tell me what they think in terms of like hype or buildup. So for me, I thought this one would be huge, but you know, if it's not, I guess I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. No, I mean, but I to me, it's a fantastic card. I don't know why fans wouldn't just absolutely love this one. Even today, Roy seems like an exception. I can't think of anyone that doesn't have some kind of specialized background that came from first. No, I totally agree. I do think he is more like a prototype than anything of something that might be coming down the line, really. I'm fucking hyped as shit. Yeah, no, I'm hyped as shit too. I really do like this card a lot. The main event's going to be so fun. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. But I think I'm going to enjoy it, you know. I could see it going 100 different ways. So The Rock is getting involved. That'll be fun. So The Rock says he's got some big announcement for the press conference tomorrow. What do you guys think that is? What could that possibly be? Obviously, he's not fighting. The guy's like 50-something, right? There's no way it's that. Not to mention, he couldn't pass the fucking... he couldn't pass a piss test. He didn't even put his own piss in. Masvidal was all over ESPN promoting the card earlier before the real training camp started. He was on there all the time. It's true. They've been kind of building this thing up. His rise is this card, really. Like, you know, ESPN has been pumping him out a ton. I totally agree with you. The BMF belt thing seems a bit too WWE for my tastes, but then I'm a purist. Yeah, I get that because it's true. It is more spectacle. It's definitely on the pro wrestling side of things. It reminds me of Pride with Japan's all their connections to pro wrestling. That's the kind of thing they would do. The Rock can't even be in the same state as a piss test. Yeah, for real. That guy is taking everything. Everything you can possibly take without dying, The Rock takes, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm really curious what his announcement's going to be. Is it going to be some kind of show that he's going to like host that's related to the UFC? Like, what's this? What's the deal here? What are we going for? I'm not really sure. I have a feeling whatever this major announcement is not going to be that exciting though. He is easier to promote than Diaz as well. I mean, Nate is Nate. That's also very true, Bernie. Like, everybody loves Nate, but yeah, we know he doesn't like doing interviews. He's not a very social guy. Whereas Jorge, man, shit, you put a microphone in front of him, that dude will talk for an hour and a half and just, it's pure gold the whole time. So yeah, it's amazing that the UFC didn't tap into that earlier, you know, in his career. But I love this late resurgence. To me, it's awesome. I love this kind of story. It's one of my favorites in all of sports. I wonder if he's investing in Endeavor. That's a good point, David. I didn't think about that. Maybe he's going to like team up on. Yep, that's probably what it is. That makes the most sense. That's absolutely probably what it is. What a boring announcement. Hey, I'm invested in this company. Great. Thanks, Rock. That's awesome. Now do a rock bottom. The BMF belt is a metaphor that Nate Diaz invented off the top of his head as a result of how the UFC has treated him. In comparison to Conor, as a purist, I'm 100% all for it. Maybe The Rock is going to take Dana's job. Holy shit, can you imagine? He goes up to Dana. He gives him a rock bottom through the table. He grabs the BMF belt and he throws it in the air with one arm like he used to do when he was on the rope. And then he's just like, hey, this is my company now. I run this shit. Oh, man. No, it'll be interesting to see what he is, what his take on this will be, though. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun event. It's definitely one of those ones that doesn't have a lot of meaning in terms of like the impact on the sport overall. But it's just a fun card with some fun guys. I'm down for it. Now that I work for MMA on Point and I write a lot of their stuff, I've been going back through a lot of Pride and a lot of like Japanese mixed martial arts, and I've really come to appreciate just sort of the spectacle side of things because I'm very much like you, David. I really don't really as much as you would think it because I'm Tommy Tohold and I love all that silly shit. I'm the same way. I just I want to see the fights. The best fighters need to fight each other, and so on and so forth. But I will say, thank you, David. Yeah, I try. I put some effort into those scripts. They do all the editing. I couldn't possibly make a video that coherent, but yeah, I've been doing some research for them. It's actually made my MMA knowledge base a lot better, I feel like. But no, I've grown to enjoy the spectacle side of martial arts, mixed martial arts, especially how they did it in Japan. Maybe not as much as how they've done it in Bellator, which they've kind of replicated it a little bit. I still have some issues with that, but overall, I get it now. I get it a lot better than I used to. So, speaking of Bellator, didn't Jack Swagger hit some guy in the nuts and got DQ'd or no contest? What the hell? What the hell, Jack Swagger? What are you competing for? A position against Greg Hardy? You and Greg Hardy are going to have a fight to see who can get disqualified first? Wait a minute. So I go on Jack Swagger's Wikipedia page. They've got him his build height for wrestling as 6'7". Is he 6'7"? Is Jake Hager 6'7"? I don't think he is. Oh, they've got him listed as 6'5" for Bellator. That's a tall son of a bitch. I mean, I knew he's a big guy. Obviously, he's got a D1 college wrestling background, but wow. Yeah, it was 3 nut shots. Wow. No, all I saw was the end result of the final nut shot, and I feel like I heard him say that it didn't even hit him, and I was like, dude, that was a pretty clean knee. I will say my brother really was upset that he never got to fight with the big Titantron and Pyro. No, that's true, man. Like I do enjoy kind of how they do it now. That would have been cool to see. I agree, Bernie. I do kind of enjoy that sometimes. Chael's entrance was really funny, where it's like, it almost reminded me of Jake the Snake's heel entrance, where that song, I don't know if you guys used to watch wrestling back in like the early 80s or late 80s and early 90s, but Jake the Snake became a heel or a bad guy. And his music, his walkout music, was just him saying, trust me, over and over and over again. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And I swear they did a Chael Sonnen entrance that was very similar to that at Bellator. And I thought, that's kind of fun. So yeah, I mean, I like it, I will say the redundancy of playing multiple national anthems right before the main event, sometimes the Bellator does, is a bit, it's like their pacing is just really bad. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing national anthems at events and stuff, but like the way they do it on cards, sometimes I'm like, man, you guys are really dragging out this pre-fight stuff. Like, I don't know if that has to do with it being on Spike, or I'm sorry, not Spike, Paramount, or what it is, but there's a lot of times where they're doing stuff and I'm thinking like, this isn't really, like, this is taking forever. I know that the UFC, it's only about 33% of their show that's actual fighting. I'd be curious to know what percentage Bellator shows are sometimes, because I feel like, man, they really struggle with pacing at times on television. But yeah, so Jack Swagger hit a guy in the nuts, and he got a DQ or no contest. Zabit's fighting soon. The next card is Zabit Magomed Sharipov and Calvin Kattar, huh? That'll be interesting. Wow, that's the headline of that one, huh? Oh, that's right. That's the Moscow. Okay, so that's Moscow. That's where Greg Hardy's going to come fight Volkov. Man, that'll be interesting. Bellator has never gotten these small details like pacing, scheduling, etc. right. I thought that would change under Coker, but it really hasn't. I would agree with that statement, David. I would agree with that statement. I'm probably Bellator's harshest critic, even though I don't really dislike their organization at all. But no, I'd say that's a fair assessment, to be honest with you. I feel like it's the little things that I feel like they don't always get right. They do some stuff different that I like that's better than the UFC, but for the most part, yeah. They won't even show their events live on all time zones. I can't take that shit here on the West Coast. Yeah, dude, that's a good point. That's one of the things that really bothers me. Nobody wants to watch taped sports. Nobody. Like, maybe if you're watching like fucking American Ninja Warrior, okay, yeah, sure. I'll watch a taped version of that. But if it's an actual sporting event, no. Like, I don't care. I don't even care if I could somehow block out all media, all social media, all everything where I wouldn't know the results. I would not watch a DVR'd sporting event for my life. I would only watch it if I had to, like for a job or something. But as a fan, it doesn't feel right. There's just something wrong. It doesn't set like it's supposed to when you watch a show that's supposed to be live and it's taped. I don't know why. It's if anybody can explain that phenomenon, I'd love to hear your thoughts. The one that always gets me is that they give a time for the streaming prelims and then never start at the advertised time. It's maybe 15 minutes earlier or 20 minutes late. Yeah, that's weird. That's very weird. I can't say that I'm a connoisseur of the Bellator prelims, but that is bizarre that they would do that. Yeah, I don't know. I will say they've gotten away a little bit from the freak showish fights as of late, which I like. Depends on how fast the fights go. Having been on the shows when there are lots of fast knockouts, they are exciting to watch, but a fast finish you have to then drag out and stall. That's also true, and that's the case with the UFC as well. Their shortest fight time cards are obviously their longest broadcast time cards because, you know, when the prelims go from 8 to 10, if every fight ends in 5 seconds, well, the prelims still go from 8 to 10. It doesn't matter. So yeah, I do get that, and I understand that. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. I can't remember what main event it was that I thought like, man, why is this taking so long? But there was a card that was like that with Bellator, and I thought, but that happens with the UFC too. I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched a card that just dragged on really long on the main card, and it's like time for the main event, which you're excited about. Like you're excited about the main event, but you're like, can we skip the video package? I already know who these guys are. Like you already sold the pay-per-view. Just let's get them out here. Let's go. Like we need like an express lane for fights if the card's going long. But you know, they don't do that. I get it. Like you want to give everybody their due and build the things up properly, and you don't want to rush people out there. But yeah, it's just one of those complaints about MMA that'll probably never go away. Nothing really you can do about it unless there's just no advertising. That would be the difference. If you could somehow just not have any advertising, then you'd be fine. Because that's what takes up the biggest breaks, you know, is when you're sitting there waiting for a fucking commercial to end, and then they could resume their broadcast. So having to fill time due to short fights is one thing, but often it feels like they are spamming promos when they have no need to do so. Yeah, it's tricky, man. I mean, I don't know if I could put on a better broadcast, but yeah, I've noticed just in MMA in general. There's very few MMA shows where I'm like, wow, that was really well paced. A lot of the early Invicta cards, because there wasn't any advertising, there wasn't anything. Holy shit, those cards blew by. It was amazing. Like you couldn't believe how fast the card was. It was like they were still, cleaning up the blood from the last fight, and the fighters are walking out to the cage. It was crazy. Yeah, that's very true, David. They are generally better paced just because it's streamed. It's worse live. They don't typically broadcast the backstage or interviews and stuff in the live arena. None of the video packages. Yeah, I've noticed that, Bernie. Like the live events that I have gone to, I haven't gone to any Bellator events, but any live UFC I've gone to. If you go to a UFC by yourself, man, you're going to be bored. You're going to be so bored because they're so long. There's so much time where you're just sitting there waiting for something to happen. And occasionally Bruce Buffer will get on the microphone and be like, "We'll be back in 5 minutes." But otherwise, nothing's going on. So if you don't have your buddies with you, definitely, if you're going to a fight, always go with some friends. That way you have somebody to talk to while you're waiting around for forever. Oh, shit. I'm so sorry, David. All right, well, at least make sure your phone's charged. David, make sure your phone's charged. So you have something to do. Play Tetris while you're waiting. Because, yeah, that's one thing I did notice at the live events. I was like, damn, there's a long-ass time between fights because you're so used to hearing the promo packages and stuff. They used to take some of the prelims and show them on the main card broadcast to fill time if the times matched up. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense to do that. Yeah, they like try to keep the crowd engaged sometimes. But yeah, by and large, I remember just kind of sitting there and chit-chatting with my buddy and my brother that went with me. The last time I went to a UFC, and I thought, like, man, we are waiting forever. And we got there like before the first prelim started. We're not like these people that pile in at the main card. I don't get that. Like, how do you go to a UFC event? How do you go to any event? And it's just period. If I'm going to pay money to see a thing, why the fuck am I showing up halfway through it? Like, what? Why wouldn't you go to the whole thing? I don't get it. I always go alone since I have no MMA buddies here to fly to Vegas or drive to Chicago with me. I feel you, David. It's hard to find hardcore fans. It's so funny because, like, online, there's such a thriving online, like, hardcore fan community. But in real life, they're not always close by, right? Like, it's like I could have a million friends on Twitter that are, like, super into MMA. But in my real life, and like the friends and family that I hang out with, there's very few that would even go to an event. Like, my brothers would go, and maybe one friend that I have would go. But anybody else, they'd be like, that's a hard pass for me. So yeah, I get you, David. I feel you. It's the same thing. I notice people wandering in halfway through the co-main. They're there to be seen, not watch the fights. Yeah, that's weird. If you show up that late, like, it's not like boxing where, like, a lot of the boxing cards back in the day, and probably still today, are like built on basically one fight where you're just there to see Mike Tyson or you're there to see Floyd Mayweather. You're not really there to see the prelims, but it's different with MMA. It's a lot different. Seriously, it's not like skipping the previews when you go to see a movie. Fight prelims are part of the fucking show, and attendance is always garbage for the first fight. Yeah, it really is. It's kind of weird how that phenomenon works. Oh, man, I would never. If I miss the previews, I'm mad. If I go to a movie, first of all, if I've missed the previews, that means the lights are already dimmed and all the good seats are taken. And now I have to walk through people and tell them I'm sorry for walking by them. And I always hate that experience. So, yeah, anytime I go to the theater, I make sure I go early enough to where I can, like, go play a game of Pac-Man at the arcade real quick and still have time to get in there before they even open the doors to that particular theater. But yeah, I feel you, man. I always show up to events early. I want to get my money's worth. I don't know. That's just the way I am. I guess I'm weird. But yeah, I agree with you. It's weird to see a lot of fans do that where they just show up halfway through. I see too many movies in most theaters I use have gone to reserve seating, so you don't. Oh, that's cool. I haven't been to, full disclosure, Johnny, haven't been to a movie theater in years. In probably years. I don't know why, but I've just stopped going to see films. I see movies when they're available to see, but I certainly rarely go to the theater I think the last movie I saw in theaters was The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure that's the last movie I saw in theaters. And that movie came out in 2015, guys. It's been basically 5 years since I've seen a movie in the theater. That is not exaggeration. I try to be in my seat around a half hour before the first fight. Yeah, that's a good way to go. That's probably how I would do it too. But the reserved seating stuff, I've heard my brother talk about that for theaters. That's pretty cool. They do that now. Obviously, they can do that because the movie theater industry is slowly dying because people like me aren't going more than once every 5 years. But I like that idea. Like the seats are bigger, and you already got your seats assigned, so you just walk in, go right where you're supposed to go. Definitely resolves some of the issues. But yeah. Yep. 2015, last theater visit. I do love going to theaters, though. I don't know why. It just doesn't happen anymore. But yeah. So we got the Russia card. Do you think what's his name will be there? The Chechen dictator? I bet he will. He'll probably be in the front row wearing like a tracksuit that says whatever that Fight Club he owns on the chest. There's probably some of his guys that are on this card, I'm guessing. But yeah, he'll for sure be there. He'll be there right in the front row. How weird is that? That's just weird. And then after that, we got, oh man, Jacare and Blachowicz. Damn. That fight scares me. Yeah, Akhmat Fight Club or something like that. Or yeah, I think you're right, David. I'm scared for Jacare. It's funny. Jacare used to be like the boogie band to me in the middleweight division, or I guess light heavyweight now. But I always thought of him that way, and now I'm like, man, I hope Jacare doesn't get hurt. It's sad when the fighters go from like Shogun was the same way, right? Where it's like, oh man, Shogun's unbelievable, and now you're just like, I really hope Shogun's all right after this one. It's just weird. I don't know. It happens to everybody though. Diggs couldn't have said it any better, David. Clock's undefeated. That's very damn true. So true. So then after that, we're talking December 7th. We got what a weird schedule they've got rolling here. Overeem versus Walt Harris. That's a fun fight. Stefan Struve, Ben Rothwell. Wow. Aspen Ladd and Yana Kunitskaya. Tim Means is on the card. Carlos Condit. Damn, this card's straight out of 2007. I like it. And then finally, December 14th, we've got UFC 245 with the Usman and Covington. Oh, is that card in DC? It is. Yep. That card's in DC. Son of a B. Overeem in the capital. The tracksuit thing is 100% a real thing. Shlemenko and Russian fighters and their coaches all hang out in the hotels in the tracksuits. It's just the preferred clothing of Russia, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I do like tracksuits. They're comfy. They're very comfortable. No, actually, I didn't hear about that, Johnny. Whoa. His daughter's gone? His daughter's missing? Is she still missing? That's horrible. I had not heard about that. Damn. How old is it? Is she is this like a small child we're talking about? I worry about Condit, the way he talked about that one fight a few years ago. Maybe me think he's feeling some symptoms. Yeah, I don't like it either. That kind of bothers me, man. She's been missing a while. 19. Whoa. So do they think she ran off or do they think she was abducted? That's messed up, man. Damn, I had not heard about that at all. That's sad. Her car was found and damaged. That's all I know. That's not a good sign. Jeez, man. That's really sad. Yeah, that's horrible. I can't even imagine. Wow. I had not heard about that. I've been so insulated from any kind of anything in the last couple days. I've been working so much. I had no idea. Yeah, that's a good point, David. It's very true. When a missing person's missing, the longer they're missing, usually the less likely the outcome is a good one. Damn, man, that's crazy. Wow. Nah, I feel terrible for him. That's horrible. Yeah, I had no idea. I'm looking at Harris's Wikipedia page, and it says SBG Alabama as his team. Is SBG doing American gyms now too, or is that just something different? Has have they franchised out to the United States? Man, that's a sad ass story. That's terrible. I'm trying to figure out if this gym is the same kind of gym. I can't tell though. I don't think it is. Maybe, but what are the chances of them having the same numbers or same letters? The governor's offering a $5,000 reward for info, and Dana announced that he added 25K to the reward. Damn, man. That is super sad. Wow. So they found her car. She's been gone for some time now, you guys said. Is there anything else? Have there been any leads? Who was she with when she went missing? I just sent you the tweet with Dana's on the video. Okay. Let me open up my Twitter here. God, how did I miss this whole story? Oh wow. It says 550,000 views. Well, that's good. That's very good. That's they're getting a lot of eyeballs in front of this. Maybe something will come of it then, and they'll be able to figure this out. Man. When did she go? She's been gone for like weeks or days or that's bad. I'm glad the UFC is helping in the effort. Obviously, it's going to help add exposure to it because like that does work. Getting more eyeballs on things like that show back in the day. It's about a week. Jeez, man. Yeah, no, I feel horrible too. I can't even imagine either. That's an awful thing. But yeah, what was that show called? America's Most Wanted. They would highlight cases and missing people and stuff, and it really did help. Just because, oh man, she went missing, so it's been over a week. Yeah, that's bad. That's very sad. Wow. Well, let's hope. You know, let's hope something good comes of it, and they find her, and she's okay, and everything's good, and not any kind of negative outcome. But yeah, that's, geez. I heard about it in the middle of the drama about Nate saying he'd pull out of the fight because of the USADA thing, so it may have overshadowed it a bit. I've just been so scattered on MMA news and stuff. I didn't even realize this was happening. I mean, you've got Dave making videos and stuff. I don't know how I missed this. That's pretty crazy, though. Yeah, they did have some fast results back in the day with that show. I actually didn't realize how much that show helped until I was watching some retrospective on it where they were talking to the host, whose own child was abducted and never came back. That guy that used that show, and he was talking about like the amount of cases they actually helped solve through that show. It was crazy. Like it was so many cases that got cracked because of people calling in, giving tips from that show. Right, Walsh, yeah. So yeah, you know, maybe this will help. Maybe with Dana's and the UFC putting it out there, and you said the governor is now adding rewards and stuff too. So, you know, maybe she'll be okay. You never know. It's definitely happened before where people have gone missing and then they show back up. Obviously, yeah, like we were saying earlier, you know, usually after about a day, you kind of start worrying that you're just going to end up hearing the worst. But man, oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, I did not know about that. I feel terrible for Walt Harris. Wow. Damn. Man, oh man. Well, guys, when they found the vehicle, it had damage that it did not have the night prior to her disappearance. Yee. That's not good. What the hell? Wow. That's really sad. That's terrible. Yeah, that's well, I'll definitely be keeping up on this story now. Thank you guys for informing me about it. I genuinely first time I heard about it was right now. So, oh boy. Well, that hour flew by fast. Holy crap. Anything else you guys want to talk about for the last minute or so here before we wrap it up? I appreciate you guys all coming in here. We had 5 to 6 people at a time. This has been probably the most active live chat, not in terms of maybe chatters, but like people coming in and out. I think maybe it's because I reminded people on Twitter, because I know not everybody's always going to check their Patreon. But no, hey, no, man, hey, I get it. This is you know, sometimes we got to talk about some stuff that's going on, and it's sometimes not fun. So, you know, but no, I'm glad you informed me about it. I'm glad we discussed it. And Aldo going to 135 is nuts. I agree. That's Aldo should probably just retire. You're already a legend, man. Just walk away, take the money, and go. Fighting is a game. Conor McGregor, even though he's not followed his own advice and is oftentimes doing stupid, horrible things. Well, he used to say, you know, you get in, you get your money, and you get out. He didn't follow his own advice, but that's the way to fight. You get in, you get your money, you get out. Aldo, you got everything you're going to get out of this sport. Just walk away, bro. Halloween drinks for all. Yep. Apple cider on me. Oh, man. Well, I hope you guys did have a happy Halloween today. This was a great way to kind of to end my day. It's been a long ass day of work, and I'm gonna go lay in bed and watch Halloween and then pass out. But now, thank you guys so much for participating. I always love doing these. They're so fun. We'll do another one next month again, of course, which will probably be on a Saturday. We might have to do it on that Friday. I'm glad I managed to not miss the live chat for once. Thanks, Tommy. Rest up. Hey, man, no, I appreciate you being here. This was a lot of fun. I had a blast. Always love talking to you guys. Hey, you too, David. Everybody have a good rest. Have a good time. And I'll let you know which the date's going to be on the next one. It's probably not going to be the 30th because that's a Saturday night. And either fights are going to be on or people will be busy. So we might end up doing it like on the 28th or something, which is a Thursday. We'll figure it out though. I'll send you guys messages and we'll team up on this one. I'm going to try to get the most people possible in the November one. I'm going to try to build it up as much as I can. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a party. We'll have it'll still be a black screen full of nothing and just me talking, but it'll be a great time. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate talking to you. It's always a blast, seriously. And have a happy Halloween. Thumbs up. Herb Dean, thumbs up. And we'll talk to you guys again real soon. Have a good one, guys.